welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we are going to be doing a colour along in Hanna karlzon. So I did put a poll up on YouTube and you guys decided that Hanna karlzon was who you wanted to see a colour along in. So I picked Tales from the Forest Kingdom, and this is the picture that I have chosen to do. So it's a big mushroom fairy house. So I thought this would be quite a good one to do, and I haven't seen many videos of this one being coloured along, so hopefully you guys will enjoy this. So I'll go ahead, zoom you in, and we'll get started. Okay guys, so we're going to start with this little bug on here, and I'm going to try and make him look like a ladybug. So I'm using the brutfuner 120 set, and this is the colour 106. It's like a pinky reddy colour, so it's quite a light one. So I'm going to go ahead and do a base coat on his little body. And I'm just using light pressure for this, just to get a little bit of colour down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a little patch in the middle here where the light would be catching it. So I'm just not going to fill that bit in there, and we'll leave that as a bit of a highlight. So I saw on Instagram that Hanna karlzon's actually not very well at the moment. So it's quite nice that we've picked a Hanna karlzon book, so we can, you know, wish her well as we're colouring along and send, you know, happy thoughts to her. For this side, I'm going to go ahead and leave the light a bit there. So I'll leave that little circle there light. And then I'll just go ahead and do a light base coat and fill the rest of this in. The next colour that I'm going to take is 007. Now this is quite a dark red colour, so I'm going to use this to add the shading. So the first place that I'm going to shade is sort of right here underneath where we've got these little half semicircles. So I'm going to go ahead and darken this up all the way along. And then just sort of lift the pressure to blend that out a little bit. These pencils are really crumbly, so you'll probably have to keep blowing the dust off your page as you go along. So I'm just going to carry on and go all the way around the edge. And then just sort of lift the pressure to blend that out as well. So we'll do the same for this side, so we'll go ahead and darken up the edges. And this is my first time doing a colour along in Hanna karlzon's book, so you guys will have to let me know in the comments, you know, if you like it or if you want me to change anything. If you want me to stop talking and just do more speed colouring with music, let me know in the comments below, or if you guys prefer the more sort of talkative videos. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to shade is just here where his little wings meet. I'm going to add a little bit of darkness. So just go ahead and go over that line. I'll do the same for this side. Okay, so next going back in with 106, which was our lighter colour, I'm going to go ahead and put a bit more pressure around where we've added the darker red. So just sort of fill in over the top of this and then just sort of darken it up with this lighter colour. So I'm just going to do this all the way round, just so that it makes the transition into this lighter colour a little bit less noticeable. So I'm just using normal pressure for this part. So we'll do the same up this edge. And then what I'm going to do here is just lift the pressure. So just sort of blend this harsh line out here, just by adding a little bit more colour. And then I'm going to go in with 032, which is the white, and I'm going to go ahead and go over this. So what this should do is just lighten up where we've left the lighter pressure, and then just drag it over where we've left the white spot. So I'm just doing circular motions and just sort of going round where we left the highlight. And as you can see, it's just sort of pulled a little bit of the colour into the highlight itself. And just do sort of circular motions to get rid of any sort of harsh lines that you might be able to see. And just blend it all together. So that's his little highlight there. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same for the other side. So I'll go back in with the lighter colour red 106 and start to go over where we've left the darker red and blend it all together. So this bit down here I'm going to fill in completely because it's very far down. And then I'm just going to go ahead and do the same again. So just sort of go over the darker red. And then here where we're going to leave our little highlight, just take the pressure off as you come towards it. And then just going back in with the white again, I'm just going to go ahead and go over that. Okay, so next take in 028, this is black. I'm going to go ahead and fill in the little dots on top of him. That one's not going to be as dark because it is in the highlight, so you've got the white underneath, so it won't show up as dark. Okay, so next I'm going to go in with 007, which is our darker red. And I'm going to start to do these bottom bits here because I want these to be the darkest red that we've got. So I'm going to go ahead and fill these in. Okay, so next going in with 106, which was our lighter red, we're going to go ahead and fill in these sort of half semicircles that are going around there. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill these in with normal pressure again, just to get the colour down. And this is the only colour that we're going to put on here, so we don't need to think about putting other colours on top, so we can just go ahead and put full pressure on there. So then we're going to go back in with the black, which is 028, and we're going to go ahead and fill in these little dots here. Okay, so I want to make this bit red as well, so I'm going to use 007, which is our darkest red again, and I'm going to go ahead and just sort of go around the edges of this so that we've got some lighter colour in the middle. So just go ahead and use normal pressure to go around the edges. And then I'm just going to lift the pressure and sort of put a little bit more extra colour in the two corners. Just take away that harsh line. Then going back in with our white pencil, 032, I'm just going to go ahead and go over this so that it'll just bring a bit of the colour through, but also still leave us with a bit of a highlight there as well. Okay, so next take in 114. This is like a darker brown colour. It's the darkest brown that I could see. I'm going to go ahead and start working on his little legs. So I'm going to use this colour as our lightest colour because I'm going to use the black to add in some shadows. So I'm just going to go ahead and do light pressure and add a bit of a base coat so that we can see the colour. So I'll go ahead and do this for all his little leggies. Have any of you guys got the brutfuner pencils? What do you think of them? I actually really quite like them for the price. I think they're really nice. Okay, so then going back in with our black, 028. So I'm going to do the darker parts on the underneath and sort of like furthest away. So I'm going to go ahead and just sort of go right up to the edge of his little leg and then follow that down to the foot. So do the same for these ones. Okay, and then we'll go back in with 114 and go ahead and darken this up. So I'm going to start at the bottom, bring it to about halfway up, and then go back to the top and bring that down to about halfway. So you've got just a little bit of light in the middle. So I'll do the same for the other two legs. Okay, and then going back in with our white pencil. Now I've just done just a little bit on the side to get the red off because you don't want the red transferring onto your brown. So make sure you guys do that. And then I'm just going to go ahead and go over where we've left the little bit of light in the middle of the leg, just to really lighten that up a little bit and make it more of an obvious highlight. Zoom you in a little bit more so that you guys can see that a little bit better. I think for this underneath edge I'm going to do it in the dark red, so 007. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill this in. I'm not going to leave any highlighted parts because it's right at the bottom, so it wouldn't really get any of the light on there. Okay, so I'm going to move on to this section here, and I think what I'm going to do is go around the edges with the darker red and then fill in the middles with the lighter red. So I'm going to stick with 007 and I'm going to go right around the edges of this. So we'll do this one to start with. So just sort of fill in either edge of the lines, and then I'm going to take it around the top and the bottom. And then what I'm going to do is just sort of go in like a diagonal and create like a little curve so that we've just got like a little bit in the middle where the light's catching. So I'm going to do the same for these ones as well. This one would all be darker, so I'm just going to fill this one in. And then going back in with our white pencil, I'm going to go ahead and go over where we've left the little lighter parts. So again, this will just sort of bring a little bit of colour onto it, but you'll still see the white. So going back in with 106, which is our lighter red, I'm going to go ahead and fill in these little tiny bits here. And then I'm going to go ahead and fill in these little curved lines here. Going back in with the black 028, I'm going to fill in the dots on there. Then going back in with 007, which is our darkest red, I'm going to start to darken this bit up here. So I'm using a bit more pressure on the edges, and then just lifting the pressure as you come towards the middle. Then going back in with our white 032, we're going to go ahead and blend that together. Okay, so now for his head, I think we're going to do that in the brown colour, so 114, and we're just going to do the same as what we did last time, so just do a light coat. Then going in with black 028, we're going to add a bit of darker shading down here, just to darken that up a little bit. Then going back in with the brown 114, I'm going to go over where we put the dark black and just darken all that up. And then I'm just going to lift the pressure as I come to the front, so it'll be a little bit lighter at the front. And then going back in with our white pencil, I'm just going to go over and blend this together so it doesn't look like there's any harsh lines or missed bits of colour in. Okay, so I think we'll do the same for these as what we did for the legs. So I'm going to go in with a base of 114 and just do a light base coat on all of these. Okay, so going back in with the black 028, so I'm going to add the shade into these ones on this outside edge here, and I'm just going to do a very tiny little line. So I'll do the same for this one. I think I'll start from about here and just go down. And then for the big ones, we're going to go ahead, I'll probably start about there and then come down to the bottom. So we'll do the same for this side. Then going back in with 114, we're going to go ahead and darken up the bottom sections of this. And I'm just going to leave the top edge lighter. then going back in with our white 032, I'm just going to go ahead and fill in the very top edge of his little antennas. Okay, so lastly we've got his little eyes to do. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in the pupils with black 028. So these tiny little bits at the front. And then next going in with 075. So this is like a dark greeny colour. We're going to go ahead and fill in the part of his eyes that would be colourful. And then taking a light grey colour, so I've picked 026, I'm just going to very lightly add a little bit of grey where the whites of his eyes are. So I'm not putting much pressure on there at all, just to add a little bit of contrast from the paper. Okay, so next going in with a white gel pen, I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit of a light reflection on his pupil, like so. And then I'm just going to do like a little line where the light's catching on the rest of his eye. I'll do the same for this one. And I think I might add a tiny little bit of white here. Just to exaggerate the highlight that we left. Right, okay, so next we're going to tackle this little window here. So I'll just zoom you in a little bit. So for the inside of the window, I'm going to fill this in with 038, which is a really light blue colour, because I'm going to do this as a daytime picture. So I didn't want to do like a yellow glow coming out of the window, because they wouldn't have the lights on in the daytime. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill this in with this blue colour. And this is so light, so we'll be able to add some shade in with different colours, like just straight on top of this. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep going round in circles until I get the colour that I want. And then we'll do the same for all these little sections within the window. Okay, so next we're going to go in with 037, which is a little bit of a darker blue colour. So I'm going to use this to add some shade into what we've just done. So for example here, where we've just got a tiny little bit, I think that would be a little bit darker because it would have a bit of a shadow from the curtains and from the window frame. So I'm going to go ahead and darken these two little bits up. Okay, and then for these ones, I'm going to darken up around the window frame, just on the top edge, and just bring it down along that side. I'm just going to try and make it look like a curved line, so it's not a straight line. So I'll do the same for this one. So for this side, because we've put the shadow there on this side, we've got to assume that the light's coming from over here. So it would be the curtains that are casting a shadow on this side. So we'll go ahead and darken up along by the curtains. And we'll do the same here. Okay, and for the curtains themselves, I'm going to use 112. Now this is just a really pale purple, so it's almost like a pastel purple colour. So I'm going to go ahead and do a base coat on these. So I'm just going to go with light pressure and just fill these in. So next I'm going to go in with 099, and this is just a little bit of a darker purple from the last colour that we chose. So I'm going to use this to add some shade into these curtains. So the first thing that I'm going to do is give them some shade under here where the curtain tie is. So just add a little bit of a shadow under there, and I'll do the same for this one. And then I'm going to go around the edge of the window frame, because that would be casting a shadow. Even if the sun was coming from this way, the window frame would cast a shadow on the curtains. And the same for this side. And then I'm going to go over here where Hannah's put the lines in, but I'm going to completely fill them in so it looks like creases in the curtains. And just accentuate these lines. And then I'm just going to go ahead and use light pressure here just to blend this colour down a little bit along the sides. Okay, so I'm going to go back in with our lightest shade, which was 112, and I'm going to go ahead and start in this top corner and go over and start to darken this up. Okay, and I don't think that's quite dark enough, so I'm going to go in with 015, which is a little bit of a darker purple again. And I'm just going to try going over the lines that we've put in and just see if this makes them a little bit more standout-ish. Okay, I think that looks a bit better because there's a bit more of a difference there. So I'm just going to go ahead and go over the lines that we've already put in. And then I'm just going to go around the very inside edge with this colour just to add a little bit more shadow. So I'm not taking it all the way to the top, I'm going to start from about here and then just pull that down the edge. And then I'm going to go ahead and fill in both edges of the curtain ties. Then we'll go back in with our lightest shade, which was 112, and just go ahead and fill in the middle of that so it looks like there's a little bit of light catching on there. Okay, so next going in with 100, which is a really light pink colour, I'm going to go ahead and start filling in the window frame because I decided to do it pink because I like pink, and you know, this is like a magical little house in the middle of the woods, a mushroom house, so we might as well do it pink. So I'm going to go ahead and start doing this. So next take in 111, which is a little bit of a darker pink. We're going to go ahead and add some shade to this. I'm filming with natural light today, guys, and the sun's really getting in the way. Or my hand is, either way. So I'm going to start with this bottom piece here, and I'm going to fill in the bottom edge, so like the outside edge. And then I'm just going to take this colour in towards the middle, but just lift the pressure as you go along. So I'm going to do the same for this edge here. And I'm going to do the same for these edges here. So I'm going to go ahead and darken up this very side piece and this piece here. Just leave a bit of light in the middle. So I'll do the same for these ones. And then for this middle piece, I'm going to do the top and the bottom. Do some darkening down here at this bottom edge, and the same for this side. And then I'm going to take the darker colour all the way around the inside edge and just darken that up completely. And then going back in with our lightest colour, which was 100, this is the lightest colour, pink. I'm just going to go ahead and just go over where I've left some little gaps and just darken it all up a little bit on the edges. Okay, you guys, so that's what we've done today, and I think I'm going to leave this video here because the sunlight is really affecting it, and it's just being really dark when I'm trying to film. So I do apologise for that, but this is what we've got so far. So I'll just zoom you out and you can take a better look. There we go. So that's what we've done so far. So I think I'm going to leave this video here for now because, like I said, the sun is just getting in the way. It's just making it all really look shaded and dark. So we will continue this in our next video.